Hi everyone, it's Tammy at Frou-frou Studio. Welcome to the channel. I am going to work on today's episode of I Saw It on Pinterest, and I want to recreate this little triple pocket, corner pocket, and I'm going to make two, one for each of the French journals that I'm working on. Actually, one is called Paris and Patina, which is my design team project for Sweet Pea Curiosities. And the other one is my project for Junk Journal Madness, which just happens to be Marie Antoinette. So, the one that I'm going to do for the design team project is made out of some of the papers that I'm using for the design team project, and I hand cut all the pockets, and then I'm going to show you how to take some of the pockets that are in a kit and how you can adapt it to this kind of thing, and not just use the pockets how they come in the kit. So hopefully the two different versions will give you some ideas, and let's get started and see what we can come up with. This pen was penned by Anita Haynes, and again, it's one of those that you can't really trace who the original penner or maker was. I'm not sure if it was Anita or if it was someone else. You hit view and it just comes up with things that are similar. So we're going to go from here and see what we can create. My version is of course, as far as how it's made, very similar. But again, I've adapted it to my kit. So let's see what we can do. So the first one I'm going to do, like I said, is for the design team project for Sweet Pea Curiosities. And for the kit is called Paris and Patina. And you can purchase the kit on Marissa's page, or Marissa's store, sorry, in on Etsy. So I've done a lot of prep work, mainly because I need to get through these fairly quickly. We have storms coming. I have my TV on in the background, but it is muted. But I'm trying to keep an eye on the storms in case. I'm on the upper level of our house, so there's been several tornado warnings and stuff like that, so I definitely don't want to be sitting in a room that's on the very top of our house if by chance we get weather that's that severe. Right now, the tornado watch is not in our area, and the thunderstorm watches are just above us and just below us. So I don't know if we're going to get lucky and not get any of it, like we're in this halo effect, which would be fine with me, or if we're going to get some rumbles. I can hear the thunder, but we're not getting anything at the moment. So I'm going to proceed and see what I can get done. So I pre-cut my pockets, and the way that I did this is I decided what my lowest one was going to be, height and width, depending on the page in my journal, which is this one. I already have my cover done. And this is just some fabric that I had that has some French script on it. And I just wrapped an old book with that. And on the inside, I used just a heavy canvas material that I had that used to be a cover for like a couch, you know, one of those removable covers that you put on a couch that you can take off and wash and reuse and whatever. And I have replaced that. So I had this big old couch cover, and I didn't want to just waste it. So I saved the fabric, and I'm using it in journals, and I love it. It's a good heavy duty material, so nothing seeps through it or anything like that. So I have my cover already. I have my signatures all ready to go. It's going to be a 4-signature journal. I've cut them down to size. This is the piece we made the other day I saw it on Pinterest. So it's going on my first page, and I have put lace on some of the edges, and so I have all that ready to go. Did I say? Yeah, it's 4 signatures. So I think it's going to work nicely, and so I'm really excited about that. So my pocket width is based on the size of my pages. So depending on what your journal is going to end up being is going to help determine what width you need to use to make your pockets. And what you want to do is you want to cut each piece so that it is a 1/4 inch the way I did it, and you can do this a different way, about a 1/4 inch taller each time. So we're going to glue the, and then after I did that, I inked all the edges, and I cut straight across here and straight down here. Instead of having the points, I wanted the little square edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue on these 2 sides on all the pieces and create my pockets. So we'll get that done. And I think I can get 2 of these in fairly quickly because they're not difficult. And especially since I have already cut all my pieces and inked them up, that will save time. So then I will just glue these. Now I made these pockets so that they would go, you know, all the way to the bottom, each layer. And you obviously would not have to do that. You could, you know, make them. Actually, you're going to probably want to glue this short side too. You could make them shorter if you wanted to. You can make them all the same size, I guess is what I'm saying, and just scoot it up. So for example, if, did I just do that wrong? No. If I wanted, you know, this to be my first pocket, which it will be, I could have made them all 3 this size and then just scooted it up, but each pocket would not go all the way to the bottom. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So we'll glue this one down for our 3rd pocket. I'm probably going to have to even these up a little bit. Just simply because I can't glue straight. And so that's what you're going to end up with. And you're going to have a pocket here, and a pocket here. And I'm going to take my scissors and just... And this, I just used regular old printer paper to do these. I didn't use any heavy duty paper because with it being 3 layers, I didn't want it to be too thick. Okay, so now I can re-ink this first one where I just cut it, and our pockets are ready. Alright, so now we want to decorate this area. So I really liked the fact that there was a circle on here, and so I have made this little circle. I've got this piece of lace too, and I'm gonna go ahead and glue it down so it can be drying while I'm doing the rest. I'm just gonna put some dots of art glitter glue on here and hope that does the trick since it dries clear. This is a really thin, delicate lace, so it should work. Sometimes on the heavier lace, I think the art glitter glue just kind of sinks in and it doesn't really bond very well. And I'm going to put that right down here. And like I said, we'll let that glue dry a minute while I'm working on the rest. So I just took a couple of circle punches, and this is actually the middle of where we did the cutout here for these. There are one of these in each of the signatures. I'm trying to find the one that this one goes to. I think it's right here. So where I did the stencil on the envelope, and I put this in here so it wouldn't get on my acetate, that's what this is. So I'm going to reuse that because I thought the little flowery, lacy bit on here looked real good. And then I took a little smaller circle and I took one of the pictures from the kit and just cut this little girl out, and I'm going to glue her on the other piece. Just like that. And that gives more of a finished look than just putting the picture on there. And I just realized I should have put this on here because it's actually supposed to go in between the layers, but it's not going to work now, so I'm going to have to put it on top. But before I glue that, I want to put, I'm going to do it this way, I want to put the grommet in. I have a little grommet here somewhere. See, I get to talking, and I get in too big a hurry, and this is what happens. But it'll work fine this way too. Alright, so where did my little grommet go? There it is. And this is one of the smaller ones. You could use a bigger one if you wanted to. That would be fine too. Or you don't have to do this part at all. This is where your preferences come in. Switch my little crocodile around. See if I can get this one to go in right. These little ones are really stiff. There we go. Oh, I didn't flatten it all the way. Let's try. I know you've heard me say this in other videos, but I hate these garments. I will never buy this kind again. I got them off Amazon, and I do not feel they work well with the crocodile. Okay, I am going to take my pliers, if I can reach them, and give that a squeeze, because it's not squeezing down flat enough in the back. Okay, much better. All right, so now I can glue this on. And normally what you would want to do, if you weren't oh, maybe I can still get it in there, because that really didn't glue. Nope, I can't. Normally what you would want to do is glue that in between your, I could just put it on the back. That's what I'm going to do. I don't want it showing on the front, is what I'm saying. So I'm going to glue it just to the back, because that won't matter. But normally what you would do is, if you don't get in a hurry, like I just did, is you want it to glue in between two of those layers so that it's not coming across the front. But this will work just fine. Okay. And I have a little ball pen. I'm going to turn these around the other way. And I have a little vintage button and a little bunny rabbit. And you could use whatever. And like I said, you don't need to use this at all if you don't want to. And that's what I'm going to hang through my grommet. Just like that. Okay, and then we have our little girl that we're going to put on here. And then I just have a bunch of little pieces. Now, these pieces are going to be totally your preference as to what you want to use. I have this little tag that says Paris on it. I have a ticket that I'm going to put there. This is from the kit. I'm going to put that there. I have another ticket, and I'm going to put it here. And then I'm going to put this, I've had to cut this out of one of the pieces of the kit, a little scrap piece, and I'm going to put that there. So that's where everything is going to go. So let's start gluing that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of remove things and then put them in place. Okay, so this piece will go next. Oops. And our 1843. I think this is a Tim Holtz piece, and I think it came out of the palette ephemera pack. And then I'm going to put my other little, and the only reason I did this little circle is because I wanted another circle on here. And then what I want to do is I want to take postal cancellation stamp and stamp on that. I believe it's in this one. Just kind of blend it into the background a little bit. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this one. It actually says paid on it, I think. I'll do it in black to kind of tie this black in. My black archival's about had it. I think I have the new one that I haven't opened yet. Okay, so now what we have left is our tags. And what I did for the tags is I took my little tag punch, which is this one. I got mine at Joann's when Joann's was still open, but I'm sure you can get them from off Amazon or scrapbook.com or whatever. It's the Paper Studio, or is that may be, is that Hobby Lobby or Joann's, the Paper Studio? I don't remember, but I've had it. It was one of my first purchases when I started junk journaling. But it does a 2.5, a 2-inch, and a 1.5. So that's what I did. I did a 2.5, a 2-inch, and a 1.5. And the way I determine how long to make them is I always take twice the width because I think that gives you a nice look. So this one's 2.5, and so this is 5 inches. This one's 2 inches by 4 inches, and this one is 1.5 inches by 3. And so now I have 3 tags, so I'm going to put the big one when I put my journal together. The big one will go in the back. This one will go in this middle pocket. And then the smallest one will go in this front pocket. So it'll look like that in the journal. And I'll put something on there, but I don't know what at this point because I'm not sure what page I'm going to use it on. But that is the hand cut method. Okay, now for the one for my Marie Antoinette journal. This pocket and this pocket was in the journal. With the edges like this, the whole 9 yards. This is exactly how they were. And they're made to, use as a corner pocket like this. And so I cut those out, and then I cut one out of just the plain background paper because I wanted a variety between the two prints. And this is my middle layer, and then this is my back layer. Now these I did cut so that they would be straight on this end, but I am going to let them be their jaggedy self on that end. Now you can see from this one that it's much taller and more narrow, and that's because my pages in this journal are not as wide. And also these digitals are made for a tall skinny journal, which I'm not doing. I'm doing a regular journal. I do have my cover ready, and that will be, or cover ready to put together, I will say. And that will be in my next video. But for the time being, here are the digital pages of the journal. And you can see that they are actually 5 1/4 by only 7 1/4. So it's a smaller format. This is the one I'm using the Reader's Digest book for, and so it was not a full 8.5 inches tall, so I had to cut down my digitals. But I like the way this looks on the page as far as the width, instead of bringing it all the way over here, because these papers are so gorgeous. I didn't want to cover up, the whole page with a pocket. Now, I will say that because these have so much on them, I may end up using them on one of these pages, which have just the tea-dyed paper on the back. But we'll see. It also looks really good on one of these slider pages, so that may be where it ends up. And, but I just wanted to show you how you could adapt something that you've seen on Pinterest and still use it with digital pockets that are already made for you. Just because this is a single pocket in a digital kit does not mean that you have to use it that way. And most of the time when I'm using a digital kit, I don't use things the way that they're intended to be used. Just because I prefer to, kind of put my own spin on it. But, I just messed that up. I put glue too far down. The digital kits are made to help you so if you're new and don't want to, or don't know how to, you know, adjust some of these things, then by all means, use them, you know, just as they are. You can make them your own just by inking them and, you know, how you put them on the page. Which there's nothing wrong with that either. When I first started, that's exactly what I did, because I had no clue at that point how to. I did the same thing. No, this one does go that way. Okay. I started to say I did the same thing and put the glue too low, but this one goes that way. So there, I've created another version. Need to glue this little corner down. Oop, not that high. And here. Okay. Now, I've created, and I did it again with the tab. You guys, but that's okay. That worked fine on the other one by gluing it just to the back. So that's what we're going to do on this one. Now, this one, I'm not going to do a dangly thing. And I'm using just some vintage music paper to create my tab. So I think I want that one to go about right there. Alright, so there's our pockets created, yay! Now this one I did not go as far as pick my, I have my tags picked, but I need to poke holes in them and stuff, so we're going to do that. So all these pieces are from the kit. Sitting right in front. I was trying to find my little ink dauber that was right in front of me. And I'm just gonna ink these up real quick. And then we have this little cameo type picture from the Marie Antoinette. The Marie Antoinette kit that I'm using is by oh my goodness. I'll think of it in a minute. Medieval Mirage. So that piece is going to go there. And then I have, this is just like a little tag or label. I'm going to put it there. And then I have this little A that is from the kit. And I'm going to put that there. So that's how I'm going to decorate this one. So again, I'm going to take the pieces off one at a time. Sorry, I have my glue pen in my mouth trying to talk. Scoot that down so it doesn't hang off the edge. So next will be this piece. Now I'm not putting any lace on this one at the moment because, again, I don't know what page I'm going to use it on. So I'm going to hold off on that. And it could be that I end up putting a grommet in this one and, you know, dangling a piece of lace or something down there. Maybe even a ball pin with a little pearl on it, because what I have planned for my cover has some little faux pearls on it. We'll have to see. Or I could use one of the little Tim Holtz. I think I have some of those little rhinestone looking charms that he has. I think I still have some of those. Okay, so these are the tags I'm going to use for this one. You can see they're a lot smaller. I didn't want to overwhelm this. I want this to be the focal point, but I wanted to be sure that you could tell that there were pockets here. So, I believe these are my porch prints, and I think it was a freebie. And you got like a whole page of these little bitty tags. But I thought they would look cute, just kind of staggered down in here. And it may be that it's not enough and I have to do something else. But for the time being, what I want to do is poke a hole in them and get them ready. So I'm going to use the little hole on the crocodile because I feel like the big one may be too much. And just poke some holes in there. Somewhat centered. I'm just eyeballing it. Kind of like that. Oh, no. Maybe what I want to do is put the so one would go here, and then I put the oval one in the middle. Something like that. We may need more in there than that. But like I said, I'll decide. They could even go more out like this. That may look better. If that's the case, we need to put the little one up here. Kind of like that. It is pouring. But I don't see any run for the hills warnings, so we're okay. So yeah, so we may decide, you know, we need more, like I said, and I do have a ton more of these. So we could put, you know, 3 little ones here, and then maybe let's do the, like we could put 3 small ones there, and then 2 bigger tags there. But we'll see. For the time being, I'm just going to stick them down in there. So, and you can see I made 2 different sides, you know, that go 2 different ways on the pages. So you could do that as well, depending on which side you want your pocket on. So that's it. That's today's make for I Sewed on Pinterest. Let's see how it looks. So this one is going to go in this journal. So let's find a page. So it would go like this. And you could even put a journal card behind that back pocket, depending on how you glued it down. I like it on that page. You could add some gold splatters, you know, whatever. Fancy it up as much as you want. Okay, and then for this one, let's see what we got. I'm just going to grab one of the signatures. This one needs to go on this side. So maybe like a page like this. That one doesn't have any blue. Let's see if I can find one that has just a little bit of blue. Of course, I'm not going to be able to because, you know, I just grabbed one signature and there's not a lot of color in this kit. And I like that because I like to work with neutrals. But I also like it, this might go, because you can add color, you know, at whatever level you want to. This is blue right here. I'm not sure how that's showing up. But yeah, that could go, you know, like this. Just like that. So yeah. Hope you guys like that. Again, I'll be back in a day or so with the cover for this journal. It took me quite a while to decide what I wanted to go with that decoupage paper. If you watched the video the other day, you saw the decoupage paper that I was going to use on the cover, which I do have that on. I didn't want to do that on camera so that it would dry and all that kind of stuff, but I still need to decorate the front, which is what I'm going to do in the next video. So I hope you'll come back for that. And if you guys are getting storms, I hope you're all safe and staying dry. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.